Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank the witnesses. Ms. Cordero, it is never acceptable for a U.S. presidential campaign to welcome assistance from a hostile foreign power. Is that correct?
In my judgment, yes.
But that is exactly what the Trump campaign did in 2016, true?
Yes.
And you believe that accepting and welcoming that assistance from Russia, a hostile foreign power, is disqualifying, is that right?
Yes.
And what exactly did you mean by disqualifying?
What I mean is that I don't think that it should be, and this is in the judgment of the American public, but that it should be, that there should be a legitimate candidacy of a candidate that is willing to receive openly, information from a hostile intelligence service. So I do believe that that is a fundamental violation of the oath, and I don't think, and this is a political judgment, that should be a viable candidacy.
And you make that political judgment as a conservative libertarian, is that right?
As a conservative lawyer, as a national security lawyer.
Thank you. Dr. Polyakova, you're an expert in Russian foreign policy, is that right?
Yes.
And in your testimony, I think you detailed that Russia is a hostile foreign power continuing to engage in political warfare against the West, is that right?
Yes.
And that included the Russian operation that targeted the U.S. presidential election in 2016?
That's correct.
And it's your opinion, I believe, that Manafort's past work in the Ukraine, quote, absolutely should cast a shadow on Trump's 2016 campaign, is that right?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
That Manafort's past work in the Ukraine casts a shadow on his work in the 2016 campaign, is that right?
I believe so, yes.
And that's in part because of his association with Russian oligarchs, is that correct?
And his previous undeclared work as an agent of a foreign government, yes.
Okay, and Manafort's Russian and Ukrainian contacts all had ties to Putin, is that right?
I wouldn't go as far as to say all of them. Certainly some are suspected to have ties to the Kremlin, although we don't know if specifically those ties were directly to the Russian president.
Okay, and throughout Manafort's time leading the Trump campaign, he stayed in touch with some of these contacts through an individual named Konstantin Kilimnik, is that right?
That is my understanding of the report, yes.
And Kilimnik is a longtime associate of Manafort, is that right?
That is what is stated in the report, yes.
Right, and I think the Mueller report concluded that Kilimnik ties to Russian intelligence, is that correct?
According to the report, yes.
Now, I believe on 2 occasions Manafort met with Kilimnik during the campaign, is that right?
Off the top of my head, I can't recall if it was just 2 or more, but certainly there were several meetings, yes.
One of those meetings took place in New York City in August of 2016 while Manafort was serving as the campaign manager, is that right?
I believe you're correct, yes.
And I believe according to the report, volume 1, page 140, at the August 2016 meeting, Manafort briefed Kilimnik on campaign messaging and shared internal polling data related to the battleground states of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, is that right?
Yes.
And is it fair to say that campaign polling data is a thing of value?
I will say that I am not an expert on that particular issue. It's my opinion that it seems to be of value, yes.
Is it your understanding that during the fall of 2016, after that meeting, Russian operatives then engaged in malignant social media activity and influence peddling in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania?
They did.
The Mueller report concludes, I believe, that the Trump campaign welcomed Russia's interference and attack on our democracy, right?
Correct.
And Donald Trump won Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania on his way to the presidency, is that correct?
Yes.
It's my understanding that the last Republican to win all 3 states was Ronald Reagan in 1984, is that true?
I will take your word for it.
Seems to me that there's a cloud of illegitimacy that continues to hang over 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and that patriotic Americans have a responsibility to try to figure out what the heck happened in terms of the tumor that seemed to have been embedded in that 2016 campaign? What did the president know?
Regular order.
When did he know it?
Regular
And
order.
how do we prevent
Regular
this
order.
type of
It's regular
malignant
order. The
activity
gentleman is-
from happening again?
The time has expired.
I yield
Regular
back.
order.